Hi everyone, Meki79 here and welcome to this new deck tech video of Magic Duels. And as you guys can see, Aether Revolt has dropped. It happened Thursday, I guess. And the first thing that I did was build this Abzan Revolt deck, and it goes around two mechanics actually. It's about the new Revolt mechanic and +1/+1 counters actually. So yeah, it's a brand new deck. It isn't a revamped deck, so brand new deck. I had this idea when I was looking at the cards of the new set, and yeah, it turned out pretty great. So let's check out what I've brewed up with. So the first card that I play is Narnam Renegade. For 1 green mana we get a 1/2 with Death Touch, which is already pretty good, pretty decent defender. And he has Revolt. Now the Revolt mechanic is always when a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, then it does something. And in this case, when it happens, when this one enters the battlefield, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it. Now +1/+1 counters, like I said, it's our thing in this deck, and Revolt, those are the two mechanics that we are going for. So that's the first one. Then Unbridled Growth. I play 3 copies. For 1 green mana we get to enchant a land, and that land can add any color of mana to our mana pool, so it fixes our colors. And when we sacrifice it, we get to draw a card. We don't have to pay any mana for it or anything, we just can sacrifice it whenever we want. Now that's great in combination with Revolt, obviously, because then a permanent has left the battlefield, and that triggers our Revolt mechanic. Then one of the most anticipated removal cards is this Fatal Push. For 1 black mana we get an instant speed removal spell, and it says destroy target creature if it has converted mana cost 2 or less, and it also has a Revolt mechanic, and if we can trigger that, then it can destroy a creature with converted mana cost 4 or less. So yeah, for 1 black mana you get a lot of, in return you can deal with a lot of creatures, a lot of problem creatures, a lot of vehicles, so pretty decent removal. And normally the Revolt shouldn't be too big of a problem with this deck. Then the Greenwheel Liberator. For 2 mana, colorless and a green, we get a 2/1, but when we get the Revolt, then he enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So yeah, pretty nice. He basically comes into play as a 4/2. Then a cute card here, the Bandar. For 2 mana also, 1 green and a colorless, we get a 0/0, but he enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. And at the beginning of our upkeep you may move any number of +1/+1 counters from him to another target creature. Now for the moment I only play 1 copy of him because I think it's an okay card. It's not that great, but it's okay. But maybe I should go up to 2 copies or something, because it pays up. I've been playing with the deck for a while now, and whenever he enters the battlefield he does good things. Now the good thing about him also is when you remove all the counters of him and you put them on another creature, he dies, so that's another trigger for your Revolt there. Yeah, pretty decent creature, especially in combination with this one. This is a key card, Winding Constrictor. For a black and a green mana we get a 2/3, which is already great. And he's got a lot of text here. If 1 or more counters would be placed on an artifact or creature you control, that many of those counters +1 are placed on that permanent instead. If you would get 1 or more counters, you get that many of those counters +1 instead. So basically, like I said, we are all about the +1/+1 counters, and this one helps them. Helps you get more of them. So whenever you get a +1/+1 counter, you get 1 on top, so pretty awesome. Now I also play the Evolutionary Leap, but I'm still doubting about this a little bit. Yeah, this deck is all about creatures, so it's easy to overextend, and this way when there is a board wipe, you can recover a bit of those creatures when you sacrifice them to disenchantment. It's a Evolutionary Leap, a green and a colorless. It's a card from Origins, goes way back in enchantment, and if you pay a green and sacrifice a creature, you reveal your cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card and you put that in your hand. So yeah, when your creatures are about to die, it's a great thing to have, and it also, yeah, when you sacrifice a creature, once again, another trigger for your Revolt, so pretty awesome. So I was doubting maybe drop the Evo Leaps and play all 3 copies of this one, because this one is pretty great as well. It is a Hidden Stockpile. You pay white and black mana for this enchantment, and it has Revolt mechanic. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. So you get some chump blockers, some other creatures to sacrifice to this card, because when you pay 1 colorless, you get to sacrifice a creature and scry 1, which is a pretty awesome ability. So you can keep your Revolt going on like this by sacking, getting another creature, sacking, getting another creature. I mean, you see it as well. Pretty nice card in this deck. Then also a very powerful card is the Solemn Recruit. For 3 mana, 2 white and a colorless, we get a 2/2 double strike, and he has Revolt, but not when he enters the battlefield, but every time at the beginning of your end step. If Revolt is triggered, he gets a +1/+1 counter on it. Now, I've had it before that this one becomes an 11/11 or something, so it's really nuts. This guy can get pretty huge. Then also a card that works around +1/+1 counters is this new card of Aether Revolt, Yahenni, I don't know how you say it, Undying Partisan. For 3 mana, 2 colorless and a black, you get a 2/2 with haste. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on him, and you can make him indestructible by sacrificing another creature. So another engine to trigger your Revolt here by sacrificing a creature. You can make him indestructible, he has haste. I mean, he's a great card. I played 2 copies of him, but he's legendary, so you gotta be careful with that. Then the Tireless Striker. I know, once again, the Tireless Tracker. Everyone is probably sick of seeing this guy, but he's just an awesome card. For 3 mana, 2 colorless and a green, we get a 3/2 with the Investigate. We get to investigate when we have landfall, and then the reason why I play him on top, he's already good, but on top of that, whenever you sacrifice a clue, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on him. So yeah, and that's part of the team, so pretty awesome, and he gives card advantage. Then the Renegade Rallier, also a new card. For 3 mana, a green, a white and a colorless, we get a 3/2 with Revolt, and when he enters the battlefield when Revolt was going on, we get to return a target permanent card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So pretty awesome. We can take even back an Evolving Waltz if we want to, and that on each turn can trigger once again the Revolt mechanic. Or of course one of our little creatures, or the enchantment here. Pretty decent card. Then Collective Effort. 3 mana, 2 white and a colorless. Sorcery speed escalate, so we can tap an untapped creature for more options. And those options are destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, destroy target enchantment, and put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls. Now, needless to say, in this deck it's pretty awesome. Most of the time we will use the destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, if it's later in the game. And the last ability, of course, put +1/+1 counters on creatures. Then Nissa, Voice of Zendikar, 3 mana, 2 green and colorless, 3 loyalty counters, +1 we get a plant, 0/1, -2 we get to put +1/+1 counters on each creature, and the -7 we can draw a bunch of cards and gain some life. Then Kalitas, 4 mana, 2 black and 2 colorless, 3/4 lifelink, can be useful. If a non-token creature of us dies, of an opponent dies, We get a 2/2 black zombie, which is great, and if we sacrifice one of those zombies, because we don't play any other vampires or zombies, we get to put 2 +1/+1 counters on Kalitas. So another counter card, +1/+1 counter card. Then Gideon. It's the only card that doesn't have Revolt or +1/+1 counters abilities, or doesn't trigger Revolt or anything, but he's just a great hitter on its own for 4 mana, 2 white, 2 colors, you all know him. And you can also buff your creatures with him, with the emblem. It's not in the form of counters, but it is +1/+1, so pretty nice. Then the Green Gearhulk for 5 mana, 2 green and 3 colorless. We get a 4/4 trample, and we can distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures we control. So pretty nice, especially when you have the snake here around. Pretty awesome. Then 1 copy of Call for Unity. I only play 1 copy because 1 more copy and the curve goes too much to the costs, it's too expensive. So Call for Unity, 5 mana, 2 white and 3 colorless. An enchantment, Revolt. At the beginning of our end step, if Revolt went on, put a Unity counter on it, and whenever creatures we control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on this card. And then the new Planeswalker Ajani Unyielding for 6 mana. He is expensive. We get a great Planeswalker actually for 4 loyalty counters. He has +2, and then we get to reveal the top 3 cards of our library, put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way to our hand, and the rest on the bottom of the library. So pretty decent, because we are a creature based deck, so we're probably gonna hit something. -2 is to exile a target creature. The controller gains life equal to its power, so for problem creatures is a great solution as well. And then the -9 ability, we get to put 5 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, and 5 loyalty counters on each other planeswalker you control. So pretty awesome ability as well in this deck. Pretty awesome planeswalker. And that's the deck. Now for the mana base, I use 2 plains, 3 swamps, 5 forests, the Quagmire, the Shambling Vent, the Canopy Vista, the Woodland Cemetery, all copies of the Isolated Chapel, and 4 copies of the Evolving Wilds, just to trigger the Revolt and to fix our mana. And that's the deck, guys. Let's check out the mana curve here. So pretty decent. We got 9 1-drops, 10 2-drops, 12 3-drops, and then 2 2 and 1. So pretty nice curve there. It goes pretty fast. The only thing is, yeah, there is a creature that with a Revolt mechanic that has evasion as well. He has flying, but it was difficult to slot him in. But as it is, it goes pretty well. A few times I had it on lockdown, that it stuck the game. A bunch of creatures on my side, a bunch of creatures on the other side. But at the end, it usually pays up, and it can go pretty fast. So I hope you guys liked this first deck video of Aether Revolt, and I hope I see you guys at the gameplay video, of course. See you guys there. Bye bye, have a nice day.